Throwing flashbang.
That has to be the dumbest joke I've ever told on this channel. You've played them, I've played too many of them. It's Flash games. Whoa. A flash game is an interactive media using macro media flash to... I don't need to explain it, you know what a flash game is, and if you don't, you should be familiar with the term browser game. Now, I played a lot of browser games when I was younger because they were just free and easy to find. They were also accessible from any computer system, meaning you could play them at your friend's house, your own, or at school. So browser games ended up becoming quite a large part of my early gaming experiences, and whilst I did have a console which I loved dearly, nothing could come close to the amount of selection you had with flash games. But also, I think I should address the elephant in the room, just in case people haven't kept up with internet culture in like the past 2-3 years. So, yeah. Flash is dead. It got removed in December of 2020 and got fully removed off all websites in early 2021. So how am I going to play these games, you might be asking? Well, that's the tricky part. You see, some websites did switch over to a more sustainable website thing, I don't know, I'm not technical, but other websites are requiring me to download their own software just to play their games, which I can't say I'm too happy about, and I might get a virus. So to alleviate the pain of malware, make sure you like, comment and subscribe. Also, big announcement, I have a Discord. That's not the big news, a lot of you probably already knew that. What you might not know is that I've had some incredible people refurbish the whole thing, just making it so much better. So I hope you can all go and check it out. I stream every Monday and Thursday at 7 PM GMT usually, hope to see you there. Let's get into it. So this video is going to include all of the flash games I've played over the course of my life, not just the really old ones I used to play when I was a little greasy twat. So a few of these games will seem quite new. So let's whip out the list and see what we've got. Run. So I guess we're going to start off simple with Run and its sequels. Everyone knows Run. Your character is constantly moving in one direction and you can choose in what direction he moves and when he can jump. The levels are pretty much all the same with them taking place in these big hollow rectangles, but still the game is good. It's mindless fun. 7 out of 10. The sequels then deviate with very minute changes. Changes that I can only show from the third game because in one of the weirdest decisions in gaming ever, Run 1 is available without Flash and Run 3 is available without Flash, but Run 2 is impossible to play. And it's a shame too because this game was the one that changed the most over the course of the franchise. Why does it sound like I'm talking about a AAA game here? But yeah, as you can see from the screenshot, Run 2's levels, instead of being in a large hollow rectangle, actually took place on these empty platforms, and it was pretty good. And Run 3 is just Run 1, but there's no level select, it's just a continuous runner, and you can unlock characters and stuff. Overall, I give this franchise an 8 out of 10. I'm very disappointed I can't play Run 2 though, because that was my favourite one. So if we're going to continue on the cool maths game train, we may as well talk about Poppers. I know Poppers, you know Poppers, we all know Poppers. It is a staple of browser games. But if you somehow don't know, Poppers was a series of browser games entitled Popper Insert Food Here Area. Now these games, after doing further research, aren't actually accessible through Cool Maths Games anymore, I guess because whoever owns it is a piece of shit. But fear not, if you look hard enough, it is possible to find places where these games are still playable. I'll even add links in the description below if you want to play them for yourself. But Kazo, you're probably saying to yourself, these games are just cooking games. I've played a million of them on the App Store, like Cooking Fever, and they're all the same. What makes this one any different? Well, I'll tell you, because this game actually makes you care about the fucking food. In games like Cooking Fever, the entire point is to get the food out as quick as possible, because if you don't, then the customers get pissed off and walk away. And whilst that can still happen in the Popper games, the game heavily focuses more on how you make the food than how quickly it's made. Take for instance in Popper's Wingereer, my personal favourite. A customer will come in, you write down their order, and it will have multiple parts that you have to follow. It's not like in Cooking Fever where they just say burger and you give it to them. Customer's order will say how many wings they want, what sauce they want on it, and what sauces they want on the side, and as the game progresses, orders become more and more complicated. You then need to fry the wings and make sure they're cooked to perfection before adding the sauce, which becomes its own little mini game where you have to like tap it right when it hits the thing. you know, the thing. You then need to arrange it properly, give it to the customer, and they'll critique you on everything you've done. And every customer in the game does this. It truly feels like a more richer and rewarding experience when after all this work you get to see your customer's reaction to the food. And when they get upset, you get upset because you know what it's like to have shit customer service. It's like, no, I didn't ask for 9 nuggets, I asked for 6! So overall, I rate the Popper games a 9 out of 10. They would have gotten a bit higher, but they're really hard to find and play, so I'd have to drop them down a little bit. Next on the cool maths games list is Penalty Kick. Not much to say about it really, other than everyone used to play this during the ICT lessons. One person shoots, the other saves, and then vice versa. It's pretty good, all things considered. You can also blast the ball into some unsuspecting pensioner, which is also very cool. 9 out of 10. Stop the Darkness. Now this one is really fucking good. It's a perfect example of how minimalism can be amazing. So you're thrown into the game with a randomized map and are given 12 wood which you can start a civilization with. If you make a town in the woods, for example, that town will start producing wood for you, and you can do that for other towns such as the rock towns and the mushroom towns. You then use these towns to harvest their resource and come up with some way to stop this darkness which is consuming your land block by block. If the darkness consumes everything, you lose. 8 out of 10, would play again. World's hardest game. Fuck me, just saying that brings me back to 2013. So you move this little red square around to the finish line and it's very hard. It was perfect for 2013 when all you needed to get a viral video was to scream like the family cat just got skinned alive in front of you. 4 out of 10. It's pretty shit. We've got 3 more cool maths games to get through, so let's get through them. Jesus Christ, what was that sentence? Okay, so this next one is actually really good. It's called Black and White, and it's your classic 2-player hunched around a single keyboard type game like Fireball and Water Girl, but just a little bit more interesting. You see, it's purely a platformer where the white character can only jump on the white platforms and vice versa, which can lead to a lot of clever teamwork mechanics. I won't spoil too much. I'm a big fan. Play it with a mate if you have one. 60-second burger run. I like this game. I know I keep saying this is going to sound like such a shit video. It's just like, I like this game. This is a good game. But look, this is a good game. The main objective is that you got 60 seconds to complete however many levels the game has to throw at you. Sounds pretty simple, but what's really cool about the game is how there are little secret waves to save a few precious seconds hidden throughout most of the game. It's basically a game where the main goal is to speedrun it. Take for instance this brick here that is slightly miscoloured, meaning you can actually go through it, saving the time it takes to go all the way around it. So yeah, very good. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Definitely spent a lot of time playing this during my GCSE business lessons. Okay, so we've finally gotten to the last cool maths game, and it's by far one of the best ones. It's called Just One Boss. You play as this little goobery guy who has to dash around this arena and a boss in front of you who will attack you. The way you do damage to it is you have to land on these glowing spaces whilst obviously dodging his attacks. Just look how good this pixel art, man. It's fucking beautiful. And just like the title suggests, there's only one boss with a lot of different phases, and the more phases you unlock, the harder his attacks become, and it's just so good. Play it. It's good. So, we finally passed the cool maths game hurdle. Time to tackle everything else. Oh, that brings me back. Dragon Ball Z Devolution, an absolute classic. This game, like a lot of other D makes, is just so charming. The little sprites, you can just make out the characters. The controls are so simple. You're just having a charge up attack and an attack button and the movement buttons. But then you also have secret abilities like transformations and certain characters having special moves based off their characters like Gotenks. There's a story mode where you can pretty much fight every bad guy in the entirety of the Dragon Ball series. There's a training mode and a versus mode where you can verse your friends or the computer. I'm going to give this game a 9 out of 10. I'm so glad they were able to revive it after Flash died. Bartender, I don't know. Critical played it 10 years ago. This game is pretty boring. It was definitely just made to be a time killer, but it's still not that good. You just combine the different drinks together and see what happens. If you combine the right amount, you can make the perfect mix, but I can't be asked to do that, so we'll give the game a 5 out of 10. It's boring. Okay, this is a classic, but also might be virus-inducing. It's Jack Frost. So this is a game I would sit on for hours, and if I'm being honest, I have no idea where I even found it. Most Flash games I played were either on Cool Maths games or Frib, which I'll talk about later. But this was on neither of them, yet I distinctly remember playing it. Anyway, because this game isn't available anymore, instead of just reviving it like a lot of other Flash games we've looked at, the developers thought, instead of doing that very easy thing, let's create an entire browser extension for people to play it on. And I downloaded it, so maybe I'm the idiot in this situation. In fact, no, I am the complete idiot in this situation because the fucking thing won't let me go full screen. I've tried Alt-Enter and F11. I've tried stretching the fucking thing, but nothing comes up. I'm gonna have to play it like this. Perfect. Yeah, the game is really good. You traverse the levels, and as you walk, you freeze everything underneath you, freeze everything in the level, and you win. It's as simple as that. And as the game progresses, it does get more and more fun. You have these enemies that you have to dodge, but then in later levels, those same enemies gain the ability to thaw out your frozen bits, so you have to go back again and unfreeze them. Wait, no. You have to freeze them, yeah, again, yeah. I'm great. I'm so good at YouTube. Give the game an 8 out of 10. If we're sticking on the website Nitro where I played Jack Frost, another game I used to play was the Bad Ice Cream series. And it doesn't work. Fuck. 7 out of 10. We're on the home stretch now, before we reach the big guns, the big boys. So, let's go all the way back to the first Flash game I ever played. Ben 10, Kraken Attack. God, this game is shit. I have no idea who made this game, but it's fucking hilarious. You're constantly moving around in one direction while the Kraken attacks you, but the Kraken shots can never actually hit you because whoever programmed this decided to make Ben much quicker than it. So you can basically run in the same direction forever and it will never hit you. However, it does have these balls that come out and attack you, but they're not that bad and you can still run around in a circle for a while. And to attack the Kraken, all you have to do is spam the space bar and then it locks onto it and you win. The funniest thing about this game, however, is the sound effects. They're horrific. 2 out of 10, like fucking hell. Also, I don't know what time this timer is working on, but it definitely isn't seconds. There were a few other Ben 10 games I used to play, such as Ben to the Rescue and Upchuck Unleashed, but I either couldn't find them or couldn't be asked to jump through the extreme hoops you have to in order to play them, so I guess they're just lost to time. Snail Bob. He's a Bob, and he's a snail. Oh, look at him go. Snail Bob is a game where you have a snail that is continually moving and you in real time have to change the world around him so he can get to his destination. It's pretty fun, to be fair, and I can see this being pretty challenging for a child. Oh yeah, and the deaths are fucking horrifying. Friv! Oh, I've been waiting to talk about this for so long. Okay, let's go. Fuck cool maths games. Fuck Newgrounds. Friv is the place to be. This website introduced me to the concept of Flash games. It's where I discovered a lot of my favourite ones. And whilst a lot of these games were just ripped off of other websites and stuck onto Friv, I'm still going to act like Friv did it first. First game, Mini Scientist. It's a point-and-click puzzle game where you have to click on shit and make it move so the professor can go. It's pretty good. 5 out of 10. Vampire Skills. This game, if you can believe it, gave me full-on nightmares as a kid, genuinely. For some reason, and I don't think I'll ever know why, I just had a terrible fear of vampires. To the point where movies like Hotel Transylvania and that weird special where Batman fought Dracula scared the ever-loving shit out of me. Like this right here gave me nightmares. It's fucking so embarrassing to admit. The game it's not even good. Like 3 out of 10. Now, okay, finally a good game to cleanse my palate. We all know what Wrath Wars is. You sat on a boat and have to aim your gun to fire at the right height and power to hit the other boat just off screen. It's really fun, really addicting. 9 out of 10. Okay, the last game of the video. You've probably noticed how I haven't given any game so far a 10 out of 10, and that's because I was saving it for Battle Masters. That sounded so much cooler in my head. I love this game. People who tune into my streams know I love this game. It's just good. Am I blinded by nostalgia? 100%. There is no doubt in my mind. There is no shadow of a doubt. Yes, I am. But I'm going to remain ignorant because that is what you do when you're on the internet. Battle Masters, to put it simply, is just rock, paper, scissors. You pick one, the computer cheats, and then picks one it knows will beat yours, and then the game begins. If you win, you then pick an attack to use, and then use it against the computer, and vice versa, and you continue to do this until someone loses all of their health. But the best thing about Flash games, a little bit like the Kraken game, is the ridiculous things that can happen because the person making it couldn't be asked to test it. With Battle Masters, it's this. So, in the game, you have your normal attacks, and then you have an ultimate attack, which you can use once this meter up here is filled up. Now the way this meter works is the more damage the attack does, the higher the meter goes up, which means if the computer hits you with an attack that does a lot of damage, your meter will go up by quite a bit. And this makes sense. If you've taken loads of damage, then the game gives you more of a chance to unlock your ultimate move so you can do more damage against them. Until you realise that this also applies to the ultimate attack itself. And of course, the ultimate attack does the most damage in the game. So what ends up happening is, when you use your ultimate, which will do a ton of damage against your opponent, it will then raise their bar to 100%, so then when they win their next rock, paper, scissors, they'll use their ultimate attack on you, which will raise your bar to 100%, and then you'll use your, and it keeps going back and forth until someone dies. And that's every single fight in the game. And I love it, 10 out of 10. So, that was a lot longer than I thought it would be. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.